2/3, so this is the classic 2/3 pattern. Again, it's 2/3 is the width of the big square here, but it's also obviously the width, the total width of the two that are next to each other as well.
There are you. Try not to pay too much attention to the handsome man on the projectors. He's completely delusional.
Okay, so this one, what have we got here? We've got to get this door up. We've got to get this all the way down. So, let's put this here like this. In fact, okay, so if that has to go all the way down, that has to look something like this, doesn't it? Oops, except it's got to go downwards. Okay, and then the door needs to go up. Should be fine. However, there's also, once we get up here, get along here, we're going to need to get through this door, and this needs 1/2 amp flowing through it. And we don't have anything with 1/2 amp here, but we do have an unused resistor. And actually this door, it doesn't matter how fast it goes, so we can just put this door in series with the resistor, and then we'll just have 1/2 amp flowing through it. So let's just get that through the measuring device. Okay, let's see. So to get up here, we're going to need 2/3 of an amp flowing through this. But we've only got 2 actual things with any resistance in this room, but we do have another one in this room. So we've got to get into that room, and to do that, we need to get 1/2 amp flowing through here. So we can do that by just putting these in series. And now we can wire this up so it can be used. And what do we want? Let's see, 2/3, so we have it going through that one, and then this needs to, let's just get rid of these, this needs to split out into 2 things, and then back to the fuel cell. And we don't need to bother about this 1/2 amp one anymore. Okay, so here it sort of looks like we need to, initially you might think you need to get all of these platforms, these 4 platforms up to the top, which we can do actually, but we don't need to do that. In order to get up here, we only need to get one of them up. However, yes, we can then go up here, but we need to get 1/4 of an amp through this one. And so the natural way to think about that is, well, you just stick all of these in series with each other. And sure, we've got 1/4 of an amp flowing, but none of the platforms are rising up. So let's go and see the hint about how we might go about this. Tricky one, this one, isn't it? You've already seen that you can get up to this platform with only having one machine running.
But then how do you get that 1/4 of an amp? I suppose you've thought of wiring them all up in series, haven't you? That would do it, but then none of the machines run and you can't get up here. Tricky, eh? Well, there is another pattern of squares in the fuel cell that you can use. 3 of the machines will have very small power squares, and 1 of them will have a great big power square. See how you get on with that.
Alright, so this is just a question of figuring out what the pattern is. So I'm just going to show you it. So we go through here and then we put 3 on top of it or below it. Like this. Okay, so that top one, if you look in the fuel cell, is going to be 3/4. And then you've got 3 more quarters, like in a row along the bottom. That's like 1/4 height. However, we need a 1/4 actually flowing through this, don't we? So let's just get that set up. There we go. So this one, these are the springy platforms. So in order to get up this ladder, we need to get all the way along to the right. We're going to need them all fully all the way up. Started glowing red here.
Stop! Come back! Don't go running off. Not yet. I know the fuel cell's heating up. It's alright, it's not a short circuit. It's not going to damage it. There's something important I need you to see. So I said how current is the amount of charge flowing through something every second. And it's also the width of a power square. Now, in the case of a fuel cell, the current being drawn from it by the machines is the width of the entire pattern of power squares. So in this case, the machines are drawing 3 amps of current from the fuel cell. Now, fuel cells start to heat up if you draw more than about 2 amps from them. So that's what's happening here. Okay, off you go. In this room, rather inconveniently, I store lots of the chemicals that I use when building the machines. And they're a little bit flammable and liable to explode. So I can't have you just heating up the fuel cell like you did in the previous room. Well, to be on the safe side, I've wired up a fuse into the fuel cell. If more than 2 amps flows through the fuse, it will blow and break the circuit. It's alright, you can reset it again from a terminal.
Okay, so this one, initially it looks like it's the same as the previous one. We've got to get these 4 platforms all the way up. But we've now got this fuse in here. I mean, let's just try doing it anyway. We've got 1. 2, so this line has now reached the 2 balls. So that's blown the fuse now. So we can reset it by just clicking on it. Alright, so we need a different solution here. And actually what we do is we sort of create a set of steps. So we're going to fall onto this one, and then we just want steps that take us up. So we don't need to do anything with that first one. This one, let's just get that fuse changed. So that's those two up by half, and then this end one can go all the way up. Oops. Let's try that again. Dear Professor Moravian, we now have the results of the subsequent blood tests, and I regret to inform.
I see who you are now. You're not Melissa at all.
Okay, so here we have another fuse problem. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doors now. Obviously we can't have them all in parallel, but we can certainly put some of them in series. These two in series as well. And still do the last one in parallel with all of those, and we're just about keeping within our 2 amps.
I see you. You continue to stalk me, like you have for so many years. But still you walk on that side of the glass. I'm not afraid of you. I will finish what I started. This is just a resistor, but it's thinner than the ones we're used to. This resistor has twice the resistance of the resistors we've seen before. Notice its power square when you wire it up. Suppose we shouldn't call it a power square anymore, should we? A power rectangle? No? Anyway, you can think of this like it's 2 normal resistors wired up in series with their power squares on top of one another.
Okay, well let's actually just have a look at it. So this is the resistor he's talking about, and we can see that the bars at the top and the bottom are quite a lot thinner than in a normal resistor. So if we attach it to the fuel cell, we can see that the we've now got this power rectangle, and it's like the professor says, it's like just 2 squares on top of each other. So this is already just giving us half an amp, which is what we're looking for here. And here, well, now we've got a nice big fat one. Okay, so this is like 2 squares side by side. So this actually has half the resistance. of the normal resistors, and it's giving us 2 amps of current. Okay, so now we've got like a one with twice the resistance, one with half the resistance. We've got to create all these different amounts, basically, because we're going to have to open that door, come up through there, that door open, up through there, and up through there. So what we're going to do is put these 2 things in parallel with each other so that their rectangles are next to each other. And then we should have 2 amps flowing through this one, half an amp flowing through this one, 2.5 flowing through the whole thing. So, how do we do that? Let's send that one around this way. Oops. Okay, so that's 2 amps flowing through here. And we've got half an amp flowing through the other one. Okay, half an amp flowing through that, and the 2 side by side in total make 2.5 amps. Okay, and these are just normal platforms, or the sort of the more modern springy ones. This one wants to come down by a bit. Basically, we just have to put this up in series with this one. And then this one, that's going to do it. Yeah, and then this one also wants to come down. There we go.
Hello. Sorry, I haven't done as many of these as I wanted. I'll be back. Once I'm back on my feet properly, I'm going to finish all this off. Yeah, you expect to see me back to old form soon, yeah?
Okay, so we've got 1.5 amps flowing through this. We've got a platform which we need to bring down, I think, down to the bottom. Maybe it doesn't have to go all the way down to the bottom. But this will get us 1 amp flowing through this, so let's set that up. Let's put it going down there. Here we go. We need to get 1.5, so we can just put something to give us half an amp flowing in parallel with that. So we're going to do that. So yeah, so that's 1.5, and then we just need to make sure, let's just rewire this a bit to make it a bit easier. Here we go. So the full width overall is 1.5, which is what we're after.